Well, the Nuggets went on the road to Phoenix, and this time, well, they were the ones with the brooms as they swept them out of their own building. This is Locked On Nuggets. That intro makes no sense. You can't sweep anyone out in the regular season. Anyway, I'm Matt Moore.
Sounded
Thanks
cool,
for joining
though.
us on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available on all platforms. I'm Matt Moore, senior NBA writer for the Action Network and Nuggets insider for 104.3 The Fan in Denver. He is Adam Mares from DMVR. You can see him at thedmvr.com and follow him on Twitter at Adam_Mares, where the bar for DMVR was hopping as the ball was popping and the Nuggets were romping as they beat the Phoenix Suns in the opener of the 2021-22 season. I want to tell you this episode of Locked On Nuggets is brought to you by McDonald's, proudly serving communities since 1965. McDonald's has always been more than just a place to get tasty, affordable food. It's an unofficial community center. A big thank you to our friends at McDonald's for always being there. I'm loving it. I love that jingle. It's so good. All right, Mares. I thought the Nuggets were going to lose by double digits in this game. Instead, they roll in. They get a lead with the starters. They lose the lead with what we always talk about, where the bench comes in and ruins it. It looks like the starters are going to struggle. They end on a Big Ten 1 run. And then the third quarter, they just come out and handle business, give it back, but then hold on enough. And then the starters take it home. What's your big takeaway? Give me the big picture for Nuggets beat Suns.
But I mean, there's two of them, the bench and the starting unit. But I'll go positive, extra positive to start, and that is that the Nuggets starting unit looks dominant. And it reminded you of how dominant they looked since trading for Aaron Gordon, including in the portion of the regular season last year when after Jamal Murray went down. That first unit, I mean, you look at the plus minus, just the plus minus for this one, which I do think tells the story. Plus 22, plus 20, plus 24, plus 28, plus 18. And that is a heck of a good starting unit for the Phoenix Suns. It's not like they beat up on some team that doesn't have a great starting unit with chemistry that just went to the finals. That was a very impressive game for that starting lineup.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's a championship level starting five with Jamal Murray. It just is. Like, it just is. Will Barton backed it up, man.
Yep.
That's my big takeaway is Will Barton backed it up. Barton came out in practice and said, we're looking forward to that game. He didn't run his mouth too much. He just said they were looking forward to playing in Phoenix and facing that team again, and that they had talked about how things went last year in the playoffs. Barton hits not the dagger, they were still comfortably up, but the shot that he hit late in that game was okay, we're done here. Like there's no
two of them. You won't call it a dagger, but I will. You're right that the dagger came early. Usually a dagger would be like the last minute or something, but it was about 3 minutes left, and you thought, okay, they could still blow this. Phoenix could go on a run. And Will Barton's like, no, they're not doing that. Basically, I don't think it was back-to-back, but close to back-to-back three-pointers. And I like that you put it that way. He didn't really talk. He just mentioned it earlier in the week. And then he came out and he 100% backed it up and played like a guy who had been thinking about this game for a long time.
20 points, 8 of 14 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3, 6 boards, 5 assists and a steal for Barton and a plus 20. Really great performance there. I don't recall saying that DeAndre Ayton gives Nikola Jokic trouble. That's
I was going to bring it up. I almost made it my lead thing, but it's not the lead story. It's just the lead story I wanted to bring up to you. But I played it cool.
That wasn't me. I wouldn't say such a thing. Look, Joker was clowning. 27 points, 13 to 22 shooting, 59% from the field.
Would you say he looked from 3? Unbothered tonight? Would you say unbothered by DeAndre Ayton tonight?
Unbothered by DeAndre Ayton, hitting the turnarounds, hitting the spinning shots. Only 2 assists. I would imagine that when we get the data, and especially just if we go back and when we watch film, we're going to see a lot of probably hockey assists from Jokic where it was kick out, rotation, 3. Like, I didn't feel like the ball was stagnant tonight despite 2 assists from Joker. I felt like the ball was moving pretty well. And yeah, like Ayton didn't bother him. He got what he wanted. He got where he wanted. He was scoring. It's interesting in that he winds up with this plus 20 despite the fact that if you look at just the numbers of, he scored 27 points on 22 shots. This is inherently, I think, kind of the challenge when teams are able to play Jokic in single coverage and stay home, is he'll have big numbers, but it's always like, well, if the 3-pointer is not falling, he's not going to have one of these lines where it's like he had 35 on 17 shots.
Right.
It's closer because he's taking 2-pointers and, it's usually contested.
Right. Yep.
But I did feel like he drew enough of it. But here's maybe like the best thing about this. Joker had a good game. Didn't have an amazing game.
I thought he was pretty amazing. I would strongly disagree. I thought he was pretty amazing tonight.
I thought he had that stretch in the third where it was like, oh my God, he's just cooking. Like he's got everything going. But I wouldn't say like 27 and 2 assists is like, at least from his standards, top level. This is part of it, right? Like, and you and I've talked about this. He can have great games without the stats. Right. It's interesting. Tell me why you thought that this one was so sublime from him. Maybe I can be convinced.
I just thought he was so in control when he was on the court. The only stretch where he wasn't, in my opinion, in full control of what was happening when he was on the court was the 4 or 5 minutes to start the second quarter. Denver's up 11 points. The second unit comes in, blows that all. They're down like 11 points. And there was a 4 or 5 minute stretch where I thought they're demoralized. Like they kind of got demoralized from it. But other than that 5-minute stretch, I just thought Jokic got exactly what he wanted out of every possession. He dominated the ball. I'm curious to see the time of possession he had tonight. And he just made all of his shots that were inside the three. He goes 13 of 17 from 2 tonight. I mean, the only reason he didn't have a higher percentage because he was 1 of 6 from 3. And that happens sometimes with Jokic. I mean, sometimes he just misses those. But every other shot he took, just dominant.
I have a great stat for you. Guess what his defensive rating was tonight?
Ooh, I'm curious.
76.7.
And that's a good team. I mean, look, Phoenix did miss some shots tonight.
Yeah.
Like, there was a little bit of like
Book was off. Book was off.
Especially in that fourth quarter. But nonetheless, it does. I mean, still, you hold him to 98 points, and the intensity was there. Jokic last year, I tell people this all the time, and look, I'm the biggest Jokic believer out there. It's well publicized. I told people last year he clearly looked exhausted. He didn't look at it. Just physically, he looked so different from the last time we saw him against Phoenix. There just was a pep in his step. He was running. He had a coast-to-coast, Matt, coast-to-coast with Chris Paul on his hip the entire 90 feet of the court. He just looked like the energy level from him was just so different from the last time we saw him.
It's funny. The Suns admitted to being tired. And there is a certain irony here of basically I could just imagine the Nuggets being like, "Oh, is it hard to win when you're tired? Is that a thing that's difficult?"
Yeah.
Because like they were gassed last year, and so now it's on the other foot. Really great win, just a really great win all overall. I still think that Jokic's individual game was great. It wasn't like Neo in the Matrix seeing everything like beyond. I mean, and part of that's because the Suns are a really good team, right? And they know how to guard him. I just thought that he got the biggest thing I'm trying to get to here is I felt like he got support tonight. It wasn't just him finding guys and making everybody better. I felt like MPJ was locked in and played really well. This was a great MPJ game after a bad preseason. Got great game from Will Barton. I felt like Jokic got real help tonight.
I mean, there's no question he got real help. I mean, we know Jokic alone can't beat a team as good as the Suns. I mean, you need a Jamal Murray. You need other guys to step up. And tonight they got that. But I just thought that Jokic was in such supreme control tonight. I mean, unbothered is the word I would use tonight. He ran the show and was just touching the ball. I honestly thought this was a great Jokic performance tonight. It would have been an A++ if he would have just made maybe 1 or 2 more 3-pointers. That was the only sort of thing that weighed it down. But
that's a good point, right? Like he makes 2 threes and it's 34, right?
30,
and it's
33 points and he shot. Yeah, the numbers look incredible. But
that's
30 wasn't. But I just thought everything else, the control of the game tonight. He had more control of this game than Chris Paul had, and
I agree with that. I agree with that.
That's an impressive thing.
And well, I'll say this too. It wasn't just that they pushed pace tonight. And he was getting into the teeth of Phoenix before they were ready and hitting the floaters and like they were caught off guard. He was a step faster to everything than they were, which was, the opposite of the playoffs last year. Now, this isn't a playoff game, but that was a big reason why they got a big road win without Jamal Murray. Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll get into everything about the bench because that's going to have to be its own segment. We'll do that when we come back. on Locked On Nuggets. But first, I do want to tell you that today's episode is brought to you by McDonald's, proudly serving community since 1965. They've always just been more than just a place to get tasty, affordable food. It's a place where friends and family can come to reconnect, a place where classmates can meet up for a study group, knowing they'll have dependable Wi-Fi and endless supplies of French fries and McFlurries. Win or lose, it's a place where teammates, competitors, the home team or the away team can come to recharge. It's a place you look forward to stopping at on a long road trip to rest your legs and refuel. I've got these stories. My dad on Sundays would get up and he would want to go get the paper and McDonald's before we watched the Kansas City Chiefs get beat by the Denver Broncos. This is the 90s. So that's what we would do. And in high school, I had a buddy, a lifelong friend of mine I've known since kindergarten. I still talk to him every day. He and I would go get McDonald's during the day in high school. And so whenever I have to go because I'm with my kids and they're calling for McDonald's, I let him know that, hey, I'm here and I'm getting the same thing that we used to get all the way back then. Can't do as often now that I'm 40, but still, it's really great. Head to your local McDonald's to refuel and reconnect. Did somebody say Locked On Nuggets watch party? I'm loving it. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets, thanks for making this part of your day. Matt Moore and Adam Mara is talking about game one, a win. Man, I just got to tell you, I did not think they were getting this win. I bet they weren't going to get this win. I thought that they were not. And then the back of my head, there was that little voice that was going, they're really good whenever there's adversity. And I was like, yeah, but like that's, like no Jamal and the Suns are so good. And it's a matchup problem. And then I will say this. Let's start.
Let me interject real quick. Can I interject real quick? I will say there was one moment where I thought maybe they had it tonight. That was when I was driving into the DNVR bar tonight to watch the game, and I popped on Locked On Bets, and the Locked On Bets guys had it as a wrong pick favorite. Their wrong pick favorite tonight. It was Denver. They said Denver's going to win tonight. They're the wrong team favorite. And I was like, so there you go. A little promo for Locked On Bets.
So I want to preface the conversation about the bench with this. One, you can't expect the bench to be a positive because benches are usually positive if the starting unit does not have the salary that allows you to have good bench players.
That's a really good point.
Most of the elite teams in the NBA, their bench units lose because all their talent is in the starting unit, which is where it should be. It's hard to have really great bench players and awesome elite starters. This is what makes you teams like the Bucks that roll up 60 plus wins, etc. You would like it for sure, but the Nuggets are just not going to be that team. The other thing I would say is the Suns, in my opinion, have a really great bench. Cam Johnson, Campaign, who I didn't think played great tonight. I'm expecting a little bit of regression from Campaign, honestly.
He has his year last year was 10 times better than any other month he's had. So yes.
But Landry Shamet got a big contract for some reason.
Shots.
Yep, but made some shots tonight. He was good. JaVale, I think that they're probably going to learn is probably not what they bought and paid for. He was a +3, but it stagnated pretty bad, and in second half it got pretty rough. So this is a pretty good bench unit. All that said, the debate at half was Nuggets Twitter was getting pretty upset, and I get it.
It was a perfect storm because you had the Bones, and I tried to put this out at halftime too. I wanted to see Bones tonight, but he wasn't saving that first half. If he was out there, I would have been hemorrhaging points, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. So yeah.
Yeah, so I'll say this. I think Malone was wrong not to play Bones. I just think that, I can imagine reasons why he didn't play him. It's especially bad after I went on the Nuggets warm room and got into a fight with Marilat about how he's going to play this season, and then he literally gets a DNPCD.
Well, he will play. You will win that one. Yeah. You didn't get the first round.
Yeah, part of it's just it's the Suns. I think that's a lot of it. It's the first game. It's on national TV. It's the team that they just lost to, and the Suns feast on mistakes. And I think that was kind of their plan was let's play a low mistake brand of basketball. And
it was especially ironic because Facu and Austin Rivers were just mistake after mistake in the first half. It was just and you kind of watch and you go, okay, well, rookies can do this too.
Is this worse? Yeah, exactly. Is it worse? But I will say this, by the way, the trend holds true. Adamar has fewer turnovers, 17-18 for the Denver Nuggets. Nuggets get a win. Don't turn the ball over when you have Nikola Jokic more than the opponent, and you win the game.
There were some high-profile turnovers too from Phoenix. Like Phoenix had some bad turnovers that led to wide open runouts and things like that.
Yeah, Jeff Green made some stuff happen. And I think not staggering was a mistake. I think that probably if you're asking like what the thought process was, and if you're asking it in good faith and you're not just like, there's no reason, I don't really care, I just want to say that, I just want to ask, like, what could he possibly be thinking? If you actually are like, what was he thinking? I think it really is. This is the thing with Malone. He wants to give guys a chance. He always says this. Like, he wants to give them a chance. I think he gave that bench unit a chance to be like, okay, guys,
I agree.
You got to lead. All you got to do is last 6 minutes. If you can last 6 minutes, I'll get the starters back in.
Right.
The bench couldn't do it. So in the second half, he staggers Will Barton.
And Michael Porter. He started with Michael Porter for like 2 minutes and then Will Barton for like 5 or 6. I just wanted to give him, because Michael Porter had a great 2 minutes with the bench unit that led to that.
That's a good point. That's fair. I'm willing to be wrong about Michael Porter in the bench. I am more skeptical.
Oh, you're anti-MPJ with the bench?
Yeah, I used to be very high on it, and now I've kind of come around because here's kind of what I've realized is the style that MPJ runs, you're going to run into the problem of, you know how there used to be like the Jokic offense and then like Jamal Murray, and now like I think it's like I'm concerned of, this is back in the olden days. Now I'm more concerned about there being the Nuggets offense and then like MPJ just kind of stuck on the side. I don't know that the guys on the bench unit are well built to get MPJ going, nor do I think that unit, and this is I'll say this is a fault of the coaching staff. They should have, if they're going to do it, it needs to be, hey, MPJ is basically your point guard. Like, he's getting the ball at high pinch post and you're going to let him jab step, call for screens, etc. Like, MPJ runs the show if he's with the bench unit. It's usually just not how it works. They're still running offense. And so I don't know how that really dynamic works. I can be wrong on this. Like, I'm not married to this take. It's just where I'm starting from is I like Barton a lot with that second unit. That makes sense to me. I'd actually like to see Gordon a little bit more. I'd like to see Barton, Gordon, and 3 bench players.
I think Barton is what you're getting at here. What I think you're getting at is that Barton is a lot more dynamic. I mean, he can be the hub of a unit, of a 5-man unit, where you're getting more than just one thing. I think with Michael Porter, if he's the hub of that unit, it's does he score or not? Not is the ball popping or do you get in the ball where it needs to go and you got the mismatching over here. So he's just more dynamic. And he did it. I mean, look, I saw it was the craziest thing, man. I swear to God, I don't understand what people see when they see Barton, because tonight he goes 8 of 14. He leads the Nuggets in assists. And I saw people on the timeline saying, oh, Will Barton thinks it's his time. Yes, it was his time. That second unit needed somebody that could step up, and he went there and stepped up beautifully. And did he look for a shot? Hell yeah, he did. They needed him to, and he did a great job. 8 of 14, 5 assists. He was great. I'm with you. I like Barton more with that second unit. I do think with Porter in the second unit, I think you probably need Monte, and that might become an interesting thing that later in the season, if Jamal Murray comes back and starts, Monte with the second unit, maybe Porter becomes a better combo instead of Barton in those minutes. I don't know. But for the time being, Barton was able to run point and score at the same time, and he did both beautifully tonight.
I'm ready to start Facu Campazzo and move Monte to the bench already. Like, Facu, I thought played great with Jokic in that last stretch, and not because
he had one very good stretch. He had a rough game up to it, but he had a very good final stretch.
Yeah, a very good final stretch because I think he was playing with Joker. I just think the only way that he's viable is if he's on the floor with Joker, and it's when I say that, it just becomes like, well, everybody's good with Joker, right. But there's degrees, and I think Facu's. There's a magnitude. There's a exponential effect of Facu's improvement when he's on the floor with Joker versus when he's on the floor with anybody else. I'd rather just be Bones Highland, right? Like I'm at the point of being like, start Bones, man.
We can go back to that because your comment, I'm with you that I think Michael Malone had a lot of layers to his decision making tonight. One of them was, and maybe the biggest one was, giving that second unit a chance, including guys that they won playoff series with. So I do think. I know people don't always appreciate or expect that as fans. We want the next thing right away. But the other thing, I think you're right. And it's funny because it's Chris Paul, because I just remember Emmanuel Moutier's debut against Chris Paul, and I always think about it. And if Bones Highland plays tonight, and and the exact same scenario happens where he gets his debut and the bench unit gives up an 11-point lead in his first stint, he feels terrible. The team maybe feels terrible about him, and it's so much worse. So I think part of this was also just, hey, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, yeah, not this one. Maybe the next one you'll get it.
Maybe the Spurs on Friday. Let's see how that one goes. Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll wrap up our conversation as the Nuggets get their first win of the season in their first game versus the Phoenix Suns. We'll be right back on Locked On. But first, I want to tell you about Calm. Do you want to know what makes LeBron James King James? Sleep. That's right. Sleep is his superpower.
Wow.
I would have listed other things, but the more you know. Calm, the #1 app for sleep and meditation, has teamed up with LeBron James to help you activate the power of sleep. When it comes to athletes, we tend to focus on physical fitness, but there's another side of the game that's just as important, and that's mental fitness. Calm, the #1 app for sleep and meditation, has teamed up with LeBron James to help you train your mind and become the champion version of yourself. LeBron and Calm know that your mind is like any other muscle in your body, but you don't have to be a world champion to learn how to train it. Calm can help you train your brain so you can sleep better, reduce your stress, and perform at your best, just like King James. For LeBron, sleep is a critical part of his mental fitness routine. I feel like I got to send this to Joker. Just need to get this thing in front of Joker. You got to go to sleep, man. As he says, quote, getting good sleep and finding time to rest is one of the most valuable things I can do for my body and mind. From the sound of rain falling on leaves to bedtime sleep stories, Calm puts me to sleep within minutes, which means I wake up ready for any challenge, unquote. So if you head to calm.com/LockedOnNBA for a limited time, you'll get 40% off a Calm premium subscription. With Calm, you've got access to the nature scenes LeBron loves, like rain or the leaves, and so much more, like sleep stories and meditation, so you can be ready for any challenges that life throws your way. Again, for a limited time, our listeners can join LeBron in using Calm and get a 40% discount on a Calm premium subscription at calm.com/LockedOnNBA. Unlock content to help you focus, ease stress, and sleep better. Get started at calm.com/LockedOnNBA. That's calm.com/LockedOnNBA. We're also brought to you today by Sweatblock. So we've been telling you about for the last couple of weeks, these wipes that stop sweat for 7 days. I used one today when I went in for the Nuggets War Room with 1043. It was great. Good to see some folks there, by the way. And it seemed people have been listening. We got friends of Locked On who have tried Sweatblock and love it, including straight out of Hollywood. We have a producer who was working on the set of a Marvel movie, which, you might have heard of it. And she was working 18-hour days for weeks in the Atlanta heat. Ugh, that humidity. She heard about Sweatblock, started trying it, and she loves it. No more sweaty production days. She even reports that one of the A-list actors uses it. And it's a good thing because you don't want him getting angry about being sweaty. You wouldn't like him when he's angry. And he uses it to stay dry on the set and on the red carpet. Stop excessive sweat for up to 7 days per use with the doctor-created, doctor-recommended Sweatblock sweat wipes. They've got a dry shirt guarantee. If Sweatblock doesn't keep you dry, you get your money back. If you or someone you care about is dealing with excessive sweat, you have to check out Sweatblock. Get it today for 20% off at sweatblock.com with promo code LOCKEDON or at Amazon and CVS. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for making us part of your day, and thanks for making this your first listen each and every day. Now make your second listen Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Josh Lloyd hosts the #1 daily fantasy basketball show on the planet. It's free, and it's available on all platforms. Final segment with Adam Mares recapping the Nuggets win over the Phoenix Suns in Game 1. I have to stay on brand here, sir. The Denver Nuggets tonight got a win over a conference opponent. The Denver Nuggets go up 1-0 in their tiebreaker with the Phoenix Suns. Those things can wind up mattering down the stretch. These games matter too. That can wind up being the difference between home court in the first round or not. So it's really funny to me, man. Like, terrible preseason. We're worried. Saturday practice, total disaster. You and I have spent the last week fretting, and then here we are.
This was honestly, it's fun. This was a really good win. I just think it was a really good win, and the team looked resilient. They looked tough. The defense was, I just wasn't expecting it. I mean, there was no indication in the preseason. The Nuggets had their moments, and the starting unit had their moments in the preseason. But the defense of that unit in the second half was just, I did not see that coming, and especially didn't see it coming when they got down. What was their biggest deficit tonight? Do you remember? It was 13 or 15. I just thought, what a mountain they have to climb. And not only did they climb it, but want to win comfortably. I'm just so impressed. I'm very impressed with the Nuggets tonight.
Suns led by 16. That was their biggest lead.
Oh, 16.
16. And the Nuggets come back.
After the Nuggets being up 11, so that was a 27-point swing that they had in this game and still managed to come back from that.
Yeah, not only came back and won, but they win by 12. So quite the roller coaster there. Yeah, I mean, look, the 34-24 third quarter and then 25-16 fourth quarter. Like they just handled them in the second half. It wasn't.
Can we talk about Michael Porter and Aaron Gordon both, though, just a little bit? Because you mentioned other guys stepped up tonight, and this was one of the reasons this was such an encouraging game, in my opinion, is Michael Porter tonight. He only goes 6 of 10. He only gets 10 shots off, two or three from the three-point line. He plays 34 minutes, and yet I thought he had a phenomenal game, especially a phenomenal second half. The first half, there were some defensive lapses. He gets beat backdoor for a wide open. Like the low points of this one, especially in that first half, were pretty low. But this might be his best game out if you took away the scoring of every game. If you just said, forget the scoring, what the other aspects of his game, how was he? And the passing, the rebounding, the playmaking, I was very impressed with how he stayed engaged, even though the shots weren't coming to him.
He made extra passes several times on the perimeter to get guys open. He made that extra pass. The other thing I'll say, the DHOs looked really good with him tonight. His I don't know what the cut, I don't know what you would refer to it, the flare. Like it looked really, like his footwork was really good in those. He looked clean. Sometimes he'll come off of those and it's like 1 foot sideways and he's twisting and he hits it because he's freaking MPJ. But like he was coming off sharp, clean, totally free and nailing them. It was sharp. No huge defensive lapses. There weren't times when I was like caught by, there's one and the whole team is looking at him like, oh, come on, man. None of that tonight. Was locked in. I thought it was a phenomenal MPJ game, and I've been as hard on him in preseason as anybody. He showed up and shut me up tonight. Just phenomenal performance, I thought, by MPJ. Like, this is the thing. He's going to have his nights when he scores 30. I have every confidence he's going to do that. It is not more impressive to me, but it is impressive to me nonetheless that he can have a night. He helped his team win tonight. He was efficient.
No question.
He wasn't like over, and this is a lot of it, like last 2 seasons, because he didn't want to be that guy, he would overpass or he'd over defer. No, play within the flow, helped them win, did his thing, played his role, did his job. Great job by MPJ. I thought Aaron Gordon's effort and energy in that fourth quarter was essential because the Suns were still hanging around and Barton hit those big shots. But one of the reasons why the Suns gave up on that game was they were tired and Aaron Gordon said, I'm not. Like, the SWAT was a goaltend, but the fact that he made that play still got his teammates going. And the fact that he was using his athleticism to get tips for rebounds for others, which he didn't collect. Like, I thought Gordon, that's the kind of stuff that helps you. Like, the beginning of the game, the third quarter, and the end of the game is where Aaron Gordon showed up, and I thought really put an impact on the game.
Yeah. And Aaron Gordon too, man. I mean, just so impressed with him tonight and the energy plays, as you mentioned. 5 of 6. I mean, here's what's impressive. Like, you think about Michael Porter and Aaron Gordon and what a big part we think of. Usually when you think of impact, you think of offense, this or that. They combined for 16 shots tonight, and they played a lot of minutes. But they never – I never felt like they got out of rhythm or disengaged from the game. They both were engaged the entire time, and like you said, they contributed to winning tonight. Just wasn't in this point column, but it was everything else.
I think the rotation conversation has been kind of interesting. This is the last thing before we get out of here. There's been kind of this clamoring to get Austin Rivers up out the rotation. And I understand it. Like he had he was terrible. He was terrible in preseason. He was terrible tonight. Had 143 defensive rating. Hasn't hit shots. Looks bad. I think a lot of it is Rivers is there in case he's needed, right? And I'm not sure that he should be in the rotation unless he's needed. I also feel like if he's needed, he's probably going to play better because he's going to play with better players. But, only 7 minutes for him tonight. He's barely in the rotation anyway. I have a new theory for Dos Verde, which is you're only going to get one good one. So I think I'm serious. I'm betting on Friday, JaMychal Green looks good versus the Spurs and Jeff Green struggles.
I don't know why I would think that. The one thing I'll say, you mentioned earlier the JaVale McGee thing. I thought JaVale really struggled tonight with the pick and pop with Jeff Green, and especially
Yeah.
in that third quarter. JaVale's a great rim protector, and he's so long and so athletic. But when you force him out onto the perimeter, he's uncomfortable. And Jeff Green Jeff Green just looked like he knew exactly how to take advantage of him.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I agree with your theory. Neither one of those guys, especially JaMychal Green, like what is a great game from JaMychal Green? 12 points, like he does things, but I don't think he's one of these guys that's going to ever have a 25-point game for Denver.
No, my point here is more just like I feel like one of them is going to struggle every game, and one of them is probably going to be pretty good every game, and they're just going to kind of flip. And I like Jeff Green. I'll say this: Jeff Green had veteran physicality tonight, and it was present, and I thought that helped also in the fourth quarter. Like,
yeah, he was good.
He was strong. Nuggets play Spurs on Friday. I picked them. I bet them to lose tonight. Gonna be honest with you, I'm probably gonna bet them to lose on Friday now. Because
you're such a mystery wrapped in an enigma, Matt, because you're taking them, if I'm not mistaken, to win the NBA championship, but you're taking them to lose their first two games.
Yep. Because I was wrong on this one. If they had lost this one, I would have bet them to win on Friday. But because they won this one, now I'm like, oh, okay, we're back to the whole we're gonna win whenever we're up against adversity and underdogs, and then we're at home in the season opener versus an unimpressive Spurs team. That's when we're gonna wet the bed. That's where I'm at. I got these Nuggets figured out, Adam.
It's gonna be Nuggets game 7 of the finals, and you're gonna say, I got them to lose tonight, but I think they're gonna win the finals. But I got them to lose tonight.
Celebrate, Nuggets fans. Happy for everyone out there. Excited to start the season off with a win. Follow the show on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. You can check out my awesome background and Adam's.
Look at me. I'm in my studio today, so you don't even hate.
You got like is that a glass wall or what is that?
Glass wall. That's right.
Glass wall. Okay. You got like
Studio B here at the DNVR studios.
It's where you let your, I guess, hostage victims record videos. Anyway, you can check us out on YouTube. Check out Adam's work at thednvr.com. We'll be back on not tomorrow. We'll be back on Friday night for your recap of
We'll be back.
Spurs win. Yeah, Adam's got the week off. Catch me. I'll be on Friday. I'll probably drag in a guest for that show. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe. Hit us up on Twitter. Let us know what you think of the show. At the 104.3 fan war room today with Sean Drotar and Stokely and Zach Bai, where we had a really good conversation, and also James Marilat was there. Several people came by and said, Matt, love Locked On. Thanks so much. Love you and Adam. That means so much to me. I just need to thank those of you that were there at Brothers Barbecue and said that to me, to see like people that really appreciate it. You got to understand, like I got 130 or 140,000 Twitter followers. A lot of them are bots. Don't worry. I get a lot of negative stuff. And so that kind of stuff is really rewarding to me. That like, I'm glad that I'm giving you something that you want to listen to every day. I'm really appreciative of that. Thanks for everybody that said that to me. And thanks for all the positive comments on Twitter. I like that. I feel like I'm more a part of the community, and it's not just, oh, we love Adam and there's also Matt. So I'm really appreciative of that.
I love hearing that, man. I love hearing it.
But you're still the king, Adam. Don't worry. You're still the king of Nuggets internet. So that's going to wrap it up for Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you guys again on Friday for post game after the Spurs game. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you again next time on Locked On Nuggets.